At dinner, a wife notices something creepy about how her husband eats steak. He carves the meat off insanely fast. She has no idea. He perfected that knife work on dozens of victims over 30 years of marriage. Nick turned their basement into a cage where victims screamed for their lives. To him, those screams were music, and because of his job, his wife never went downstairs, just left food at the door. Then one day, her best friend visits and everything changes. The friend warns her, quiet husbands like that are usually hiding something dark. Then she jokingly asks Nick what he is really hiding down there. That joke makes Nick tense up. Days later, the friend goes silent. She is vanished. Police search for days and find nothing. Nick acts shocked, but his wife has no clue her best friend is tied up in the basement right below her. Curiosity killed the cat. She never imagined one offhand joke would expose a serial killer everyone fears, but Nick won't kill her fast. He sedates her heavily, then slowly drains her blood, every last drop. He scrubs the body clean of every trace, no evidence left behind. Nick's eye for detail is nearly perfect. Even a single stray eyelash doesn't escape him. When he is done, he boxes up his work and mails it to a police friend. He even signs it, earning a nickname that terrifies the whole city. When cops analyze the bones, they find zero usable evidence. But they trace the package and shipping station cameras give them their first look at Nick. They never see his face, but Detective Lincoln knows it is their guy, because he'd recognize Nick's build anywhere, dead or alive. And Lincoln's paralysis, Nick caused it during a hostage rescue 3 years ago. He called the right detonation wire, but he underestimated the killer. The blast crushed his spine, leaving the 180 IQ genius detective permanently paralyzed. But Nick vanished for 3 years after that case until this bone appeared. Lincoln knew Nick was back, and the cameras soon proved it. The killer's phone model was super rare, so police quickly traced that day's signal. They couldn't ID the user, but tracking cell towers gave them his final destination. Lincoln knew it was a signal from Nick. He was back in town, meaning their final showdown was coming. That night, Nick prepared him a gift. He injected a man with pufferfish toxin, fully conscious, but completely paralyzed. Then poured vodka down his throat until he choked to death. Before leaving, he proudly photographed his work. When police arrived, the victim was long dead. Lincoln instantly recognized the victim, his old college professor, the only professor who ever failed him, a clear taunt at Lincoln, paralyzed and sober. Police soon found his clues, a dollar bill pinned under ivory, plus leftover pufferfish toxin at the scene, and vomit all over the victim. The lab found undigested turtle meat in it, seemingly random clues. But Lincoln cracked the killer's hint. People once thought President Washington's dentures were wooden, until he threw a turtle feast for his troops. They were ivory. And that dinner was held at a bar that is still open today. Nick was there, prepping gift 2, a drugged man tied in the kitchen. Then he opened COO tanks in front of him and snapped another souvenir photo. Police followed Lincoln's lead right there, but toxic gas filled the room. They suited up before entering, but the victim was already dead. His skin's covered in freeze burns from the icy gas, still clutching Lincoln's book. Lincoln doesn't know this victim, but it is clearly Nick's work. The cop finds an oyster knife, plus a clue inside the guy's mouth. Lab tests show copper patina, and the mouth held a red oak leaf. The oyster knife itself is nothing special, but those 3 clues point Lincoln to one place. It used to be the biggest oyster hub until it became a train station. The roof's made of that same dazzling green copper, with hundreds of red oaks growing nearby. Police rush over, and sure enough, find a victim deep inside the station. She is strapped to a chair, steel cable around her neck, victim's photos at her feet. But this time's different. She is still alive, and that makes Lincoln instantly nervous. Because Nick never leaves survivors, Lincoln fears it is a trap for police. But shockingly, there is no booby trap at all. They sweep everything at the scene and find 0 clues. They save the woman, but Lincoln's got a bad feeling. The photos feel like a taunt, and once Nick thinks he has won, he'll vanish again. So to stop him disappearing, Lincoln goes on the offensive. On national TV, Lincoln calls Nick out, spinning the rescue as a victory. It works, but he has just poked a monster. Nick gets home, replaying last night's news obsessively. What he doesn't know, his wife's packing boxes and accidentally knocks loose a wall panel. She has found her husband's secret inside, photo after photo of the victims. She assumes the previous homeowner was some psycho killer and frantically calls her husband. Nick senses something's off. His wife has never sounded this panicked. He disposes of the body, races home, and there is the gaping hole in the wall. Nick panics. How is he supposed to explain this to his wife? But his wife never suspects him. She thinks the previous owner left it. Terrified, she grabs the phone to call 911, but he stops her. He says it'll tank their home value, wait until they sell, then call police. She agrees, but then freezes. The woman in that photo is no stranger. It is her long-missing best friend, and now she knows something's wrong. Nick says nothing. He gathers the scattered photos and grips his wife's hand tight. She doesn't dare resist. One look at the basement, and she completely loses hope. All his strange behavior finally makes sense to her. Nick says he is sorry it came to this, but he still looks at her with love. Without another word, Nick tapes his wife to a chair. She brings up their memories, hoping to reach his conscience. For a second, it almost works. He kneels down and gently touches her ring finger, but Nick knows every second makes it harder. A legendary killer can't let love hold him back. He goes through with it. For 30 years, she'd been the thing holding him back. Now that leash is gone, a monster is born. Gloves on, music playing, one last kiss. Then he grabs the hacksaw. But the old thrill is gone. He completely breaks down. He blames Lincoln for all of it and reveals his location. He wants Lincoln to hurt too. Police soon find her body. But this scene is different, spotless, with no signs of torture anywhere. Lincoln zeroes in on her hand to mourn his lost love. Nick took her ring finger bone, not the ring itself. Maybe he trusts a bone that can't talk, and it shows cops this marriage mattered. In her other hand, they find a piece of red leather and traces of white powder. Suddenly, the body's phone rings. It is Nick calling. He blamed everything on Lincoln and swore to destroy his reputation. Nick's identity finally surfaces, and Lincoln sends men to his parents' house. Police analyzed the crime scene and found just a plain piece of red leather, plus traces of adrenaline. Then, a country singer's song played at the scene. Lincoln instantly remembers something: red sheepskin, adrenaline, plus the singer's hometown. It points to his old boxing gym. Nick is coming for him personally, but when police arrived, the scene stopped them cold. Lincoln's boss sat in the middle of the ring, badly wounded and bleeding out. Nick didn't want her dead yet. She was bait. Nobody could get near the ring. Nick had rigged it with pressure sensors. The slightest vibration would blast out steam hundreds of degrees hot. At that heat, a human wouldn't stand a chance, and she kept bleeding out. She knew she was dying either way, so to spare anyone else, she stood up. The steam cooks her instantly. Watching his mentor die, Lincoln finally feels helpless. The department moves his wife and son to a safe house, walking right into Nick's trap. Minutes into the drive, they spot something wrong ahead. One cop gets out to check. Nick, dressed in a police uniform, guns him down instantly. Panicked, he handed the boy his watch, then got shot trying to fight back. Backup arrived too late. An officer lay shot in the neck, barely breathing. Nick killed 3 cops and took Lincoln's family. They found the stolen police car, family gone. Inside are just their 2 phones and a note with numbers on it. Meanwhile, Nick locked the woman and boy up separately. He wanted Lincoln to lose his wife too. Meanwhile, the team starts analyzing clues from the scene. But nothing adds up until the detective suddenly realizes something. The watch he gave his dead colleague isn't at the scene. That is the clue. They trace the watch's GPS to a spot outside town. But that signal's 30 minutes old, just a rough area. Then the techs find something. The note is made of special material, animal skin on it, and that tips off Lincoln. Lincoln knows Nick's father-in-law was a butcher with a shop nearby. Cops rush over and find the wife, but the boy isn't there. They find a note telling Lincoln where to find the boy and to come alone. The showdown's coming, at a place Lincoln swore he'd never return. That is where Lincoln failed years ago. Nick's dragging him back to the start. Obvious trap, but Lincoln has to go. To keep eyes inside, he takes the female cop's camera. At the warehouse, his live feed streams to the team as he reaches that spot. Up top, he sees his son, the same scene as years ago. Now it is his kid. Lincoln can't climb anymore, so Nick gives him a deadline to save him, or watch his son fall to his death. Nick knows what breaks Lincoln. It is family, but Nick doesn't realize his own weakest spot is exactly the same. Lincoln brings up Nick's wife, and it instantly enrages him. Nick storms down with a dagger. Then he spots the camera on Lincoln. He rips it off, and a pin pricks him. 1 second later, Nick goes limp and passes out cold. His teammate had drugged that pin before handing over the camera. Case finally closed.